The main downside to this happening right now is sometimes when we file the green card application, the married couple doesn't have a ton of evidence, whether they recently married or recently moved in together or just haven't gotten around to like opening joint bank accounts or like putting the other spouse on their insurance or going on trips. The marriage is still new oftentimes, and they just, sometimes they don't have a ton of money. For those of you who don't know, I focus most of my practice on marriage-based green cards and family-based immigration generally, not just marriage-based, but I love marriage-based green card cases, so I like to say that. One of the questions that a lot of marriage-based green card applicants have been asking me is, what changes have been taking place to the marriage-based green card process under the Trump administration? And the honest answer, as of August 2025, is that for standard cases that are clean, like visa overstays, very few actual changes, but there are a few notable ones that I want to mention. But like for the most part, if you were eligible a year ago, you're still eligible today with some minor caveats. So one of the things that we expected to happen was dramatic changes in processing times. We thought that processing times were just going to get longer and longer and longer. But the Trump administration's need to ramp up their deportation numbers has actually resulted in USCIS speeding up processing times, especially for family-based green card applications. And the reasoning behind this, according to the immigration attorney hive mind and the networks I'm a part of, the main theory is a decent percentage of those green card applications are going to get denied. And the percentage that get denied are going to immediately receive a notice to appear in immigration court. And this is going to help the Trump administration increase their actual deportation numbers so that they could fulfill their campaign promise. I'm not sure whether that's actually the reasoning, but I don't think they're speeding these up to help immigrants out. That would be pretty out of character for the Trump administration, and especially the policies that Stephen Miller is trying to enact right now. So the first change that I see happening is things are actually dramatically speeding up. Like it's not uncommon right now in some parts of the United States to file your green card application and 3 months later to have your green card interview, which is wonderful news for most of my clients because they clearly qualify for permanent residence and there's no reason for those green card applications to get denied. And in fact, they are getting approved. So it's great. I like that this is happening personally. The main downside to this happening right now is sometimes when we file the green card application, the married couple doesn't have a ton of evidence, whether they recently married or recently moved in together or just haven't gotten around to like opening joint bank accounts or like putting the other spouse on their insurance or going on trips. The marriage is still new oftentimes, and they just, sometimes they don't have a ton of money, they can't go on vacations yet, and they're afraid to travel domestically because of all the immigration enforcement that's going on right now. So I get all those things. And what we would historically do, I would say like, okay, look, let's get this filed as soon as possible. So once your green card application is pending, you have some limited level of protection. If you encounter ICE, they like to see that you have a green card application pending or are doing something actively to fix your immigration status. Historically, that's been true. Right now, I'm not so sure how true that is. There have been reports of people with green card applications pending being detained by ICE. I haven't heard of anyone being actively investigated because they have a green card application pending. It's more like you randomly encounter ICE on the street and they realize you're a visa overstay and they don't care that you have a green card application pending. They just detain you to get a detention and try to get their deportation numbers up. And then it's up to an immigration judge to release you on bond, and it just like costs a ton of money and you have to deal with that nightmare. The other big thing that I've already mentioned is happening is that when your green card application gets denied, if that happens, you are most likely, almost definitely going to receive a notice to appear in immigration court. And now you need to defend yourself in removal proceedings. So in the past, I've told people, the reason I created this channel was to help empower people so that Some people can file their own applications, or at least educate yourself about the immigration process. You might be able to avoid hiring an attorney in some situations, but I'm not sure whether I stand by that anymore because the cost of a denial is so drastically high right now. First of all, like the green card application, you might be able to still apply for adjustment of status in front of an immigration judge after they send your case to court. But the fees are just so high. Like you have to repay for a new green card fee, $1,440, but you also have to pay $1,500 on top of that for the immigration judge to adjudicate the green card application. And you need to pay an attorney now for deportation defense, which could, in some situations, run you like 10 grand. So trying to save a couple $1,000s up front might not be worth it, but it really depends on how much risk you're comfortable with. So it's a case-by-case determination. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but just understand that the risks are higher than ever right now, especially, and I'm gonna make a whole separate video that I'm gonna post like tomorrow on this exact topic, especially if you receive a request for evidence pertaining to your affidavit of support. Talk to a lawyer. Those things are really complicated, and the request for evidence doesn't clearly explain what the problem is all the time. It's just a boilerplate request for evidence. You don't know what the problem is. If you try to respond to it and you don't fix the problem that USCIS sees, then you're gonna get denied. They don't give you a second request for evidence. It goes straight to a denial and then a notice to appear. So that would be a nightmare scenario. The final thing I wanna talk about is non-immigrant intent issues. So when you enter the United States on a non-immigrant visa, such as a tourist visa, if you do anything within the first 90 days that suggests that your actual intent was to permanently live in the US, there might be a determination by USCIS that you had fraudulent intent. You entered as a tourist saying, my plan is to just visit and leave. And then you immediately did something like apply for permanent residence that suggests that you had fraudulent intent. This is an issue I always prepare my clients on before they attend their interview. But historically, like at least even up until now, August 2025, it's not an issue that's been coming up at my clients' interviews, but I still like to prepare people for it because this is like low-hanging fruit for USCIS to use to increase the number of denials and to send more people to deportation proceedings. So just something to be aware of. Talk to an attorney before you attend your interview in case you receive questions about intent. It's important for you to understand what the law is on this specific issue. As additional changes and policy changes take place, both unofficially and officially under the Trump administration, I'll be sure to create updated videos on these topics. Again, if you're new to my channel, my name is Puyan Darian. I'm an immigration attorney with an office in New York, but I practice these cases nationwide. In fact, most of my clients are not in New York. They've met with me over video and I represent them in their green card applications. I focus on family-based immigration, naturalization, and some removal defense litigation. So if you have any questions about any of those things, be sure to schedule a consultation directly with me. You can find the direct booking link in the video description below. It'll take 5 minutes to schedule something, and I'll see you guys next time for another video.